to A Web of Stories. I'm here to do my weekly update of what I'm currently reading. Before I get into that, I just want to do a little touch base of where we are in time. Today is February 12th, which means it is Super Bowl Sunday. In my family, that's a big day, more because of the food usually than the game. But yes, we will be watching the Super Bowl and eating yummy food. I ended up having my book club in the middle of the Super Bowl today. It's a Zoom book club, so I will be able to check out of the Super Bowl, have my book club. I'm actually looking forward more to my book club than the Super Bowl this year. And then go back to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a very busy afternoon. And tomorrow is Lily, my daughter, who's always behind the camera. It's her 14th birthday tomorrow. So that is exciting. So with all that in mind, let me tell you what I'm reading. The first book I'm reading is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. So Colson Whitehead is an author that I really feel that I should appreciate. However, the only other book of his I've read was The Underground Railroad, which was a book that I had trouble reading. Obviously the content of that book is very hard, and it's not a book that you're supposed to exactly enjoy. But I had trouble digesting that book in following it and things like that. So I was very worried about reading this one. And fortunately, this book is working a lot better for me. I'm able to stay engaged with the story a lot more. And it's just been a better reading experience for me than The Underground Railroad. So I'm very relieved about that. But this is going pretty quickly. Again, I'm not sure this is a book I think you can say you can enjoy. I know things are going to get bad in the book right now. I'm in about a third of the way through, and so I know things are going to get really dark. But so far so good with this one, and I'm happy to report that. The next book I'm reading is The Outcast Dead by Elly Griffiths, which is the 6th book in the Ruth Galloway series. If you've been following my channel, you know that I'm really enjoying this series so far. And this is a pretty good one. It's interesting in that it's the first book in the series to really tie back to a previous book. This one ties back to the first book. So I've been kind of enjoying that little tie that she has going on in there. I'm not that far into it yet, but these are just really enjoyable books for me to read. I felt like I needed it, knowing that, The Nickel Boys is a heavier read. I like having this sort of lighter, I don't want to say predictable because it's a mystery and the mystery is not predictable, but it is predictable in that I can safely predict that I will enjoy it book to go along with The Nickel Boys. The next book that I have going is my audiobook, which is You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey by Amber Ruffin and Lacey Lamar. Obviously, this is not an audiobook. I spoke about this last week and I said, I really wish that I had the print book so I could look at the pictures they reference. And after I recorded my video, I went downstairs, logged onto my library, and put a hold on the print book. So now I can look at the pictures they reference. And I haven't listened to too much of it this week. I've just been busy and not had a lot of audiobook time. I'm generally pretty slow with my audiobooks. That's why I tend to get them from Libro instead of the library. So I am enjoying this one though. It is a very funny book and it's appropriate humor for the subject. Let's just put it that way. So I would recommend this if you are looking for something that deals with racism, but is also, takes a sort of different kind of absurdist look at it. The next book I'm reading is Mink River by Brian Doyle. So I'm reading this book, which is a novel, in place of the reading slot I usually have that is for short stories, because this is for my library book club and I need to get it done. But it's actually working out really well. This book has very short chapters. In fact, they're kind of like little vignettes almost. So it works really well in place of that. Brian Doyle he has passed on, but he was a local author. And this book is set on the Oregon coast. The Oregon coast is one of my favorite places on the planet. And it's set in a fictional town, but they tell you where on the Oregon coast the fictional town is, which is just south of Astoria. So this is kind of like, if you're familiar with the area, this is in the Cannon Beach kind of seaside area. It's the 3rd book I've read that's set on the Oregon coast. The first one I read was Red Clocks, which is a book I do recommend if you want kind of a depressing dystopian one that's not very dystopian anymore. But that was also written by a local author. And the town is also fictional in there, but it's very clearly based on Newport. And she really captures it well. This is like an excellent portrayal of that part of the Oregon coast. The second book I read that's set on the Oregon coast is the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. And Simone St. James is an author that I really enjoy. And I like her kind of ghost stories. Those are great. However, I don't think this woman has ever been to the Oregon coast, because that was not the Oregon coast that was in that book. And if I was not familiar with the Oregon coast, that wouldn't have been an issue for me, but I am. It's one of my very favorite places. And the fact that it was so misportrayed in that book really affected my enjoyment of it. So this one is perfect. This is like the perfect Oregon coast book. I really want to go to the beach now. But it's lovely. The language in it, the prose, it's poetry on the page. There's this very whimsical sense of humor in it, but it also kind of gets really emotional at times. I am loving this book. If you want to ever check it, find it somewhere or check it out, I will tell you it's from a small press. So if you are not in the Pacific Northwest, you may have trouble finding it at a bookstore, but it should be very easy to order online. And then finally, the book I have going is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I am still enjoying it. I am reading a chapter at lunch most weekdays. It tends to be loud at my house at lunchtime when the kids are home. So that's why I usually don't read it on the weekends, but I am ahead of my schedule for reading this. So I will finish it way earlier than I had planned. And it is very enjoyable. I am glad that I am reading an electronic copy of it, because I think if I had a print copy of it, I would be overwhelmed by its size. But the fact that it's just on my Kindle, that is helping me handle it more. So that's currently what I have going. I did want to address Black History Month a little bit. I actually meant to do this earlier in the video. I'd said before that my goal this month is to always have, at least among all the books I read, always have at least one book by an African-American or Black author. And this week I have two. I'm not sure what my books are going to be after this, but I have plenty of books on my e-readers and in my Libro account that are written by Black authors. So I should be able to keep that going. So we'll see how that goes. Also, as I said earlier, my book club is tonight, and I would very much like to be able to tell you what our next book club book is. This time we're discussing Take My Hand by Doyle and Perkins Valdez, which I finished this week. And I will talk more about that later. But the next book we discuss, which will be in April, which is Muslim American Month, Heritage Month. So we looked for books by Muslim American authors or from the Arabian diaspora. And we currently have a tie for two books. So I don't know which book we're reading yet. We're going to decide that at the meeting tonight. But I've had people kind of ask me about book clubs. So I think that later this week, once I know what book we're reading next, I'm going to talk a little bit how we formed this particular book club and how we run it and the books that we've done, just in case anyone's interested. So with that, I better cut this short because I need to go make food and stuff for the Super Bowl, because it is Super Bowl Sunday. So thank you all for joining me. Please let me know in the comments below what you're reading right now, and if you have any thoughts about the books that I shared here or any questions. And please like this video and subscribe. And if you follow through to the end of the video or look in the description box below, you will see all the places you can find me on social media. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.